All right, let's go ahead and start talking about finding the mean. No, I am not discussing Miss Meek or Miss Armstrong, even though we are finding the mean. Though you can keep that in the back of your mind as we talk about mean. So what is one example of how you have heard the word average before? So when we talk about average, everybody in here, since you were in kindergarten, has dealt with the word average. What is average? When you hear of, oh, my average is, what comes to your mind? Cody?
A certain number that goes overall mainly for classes.
Okay, so you're thinking classes or grades, right? So I'm gonna absolutely grades. When I hear of average, that's what I think. I mean, especially in a classroom setting, we think of grades. What else? Go ahead.
Percents, like half percent, yeah, like when you talk about grades, like there's a grade, percent.
Okay, so you're thinking still grades, but if I say a 60 or whatever, you're thinking 60%, but really that's an average, but yes, okay. All right, I'll come back to you in just a second. So that's really what y'all are going to be dealing with. There's other things like average, time it took you to get from one spot to the other. Y'all all have to run a mile, right? At some point in time in gym. A lot of times they may let you run it 1 week and then you do another week and then you do another week and they take the average. Maybe 1 week you're running really, really fast. The next week you're running really, really slow. It all averages out. All right, in math, the average is called the mean. So that's what we call, instead of talking about average this and average that, we're going to talk about mean. But know that mean is also the average. So let's talk about how do we find the mean. So first step. The very first step in finding the average is you add all the numbers. It doesn't matter if some of those numbers are fractions, or if those numbers are decimals, or if those numbers are integers. You are going to add them all up. Using your adding integer rules, using your adding fraction rules, using your adding decimals rules. So you take it 2 at a time. That's exactly what I do, is I line them up and I say this plus this is this. This plus the next one, and we're going to go over some of them. After I have added all of them up, which is also called the sum, so we don't forget some of those vocabulary words. After we have added all the numbers, I then am going to divide the sum by the number of numbers. So I count up the total number of numbers that I have in my set of data. That's what I'm going to divide by. If I gave you 6 numbers, I'm going to divide by 6. If I gave you 10 numbers, I'm going to divide by 10. Even if numbers are repeated, they are still numbers, so we still count those. Is 0 a number?
Yes.
Do I have to add that in there?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So let's go ahead and let's try this set of data. The mean of the data set below, 657,576. All right, so we're going to add them all together. So go ahead and you add them as I'm adding. Okay. And I write the whole problem out so I can make sure I have all my numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I take my order of operations and I do baby steps a little at a time. 6 plus 5 is 11. And I do the next two. That's going to be 18. Then it's 23. 30. You see how I didn't try to do all of the numbers at once. I didn't go, oh, and start using my fingers and count them all up. I took it a little baby steps. I know all of you know how to add. That is not what we're trying to figure out here. Every one of you can add. But if you make a little minor error because you're like trying to do everything in your head and you come up with 35 instead of 36, it's going to throw your other numbers off. So now, my sum of these numbers is what?
36.
36. Now I divide by the number of items in the data set. So I'm going to take 36 and I'm going to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divide it by 6. How many times can 6 go into 36?
6.
6 times 6 is 36. So my mean, or my average of this data is 6. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it. It's not.
that's it. That's all the mean is.
Oh, that's easy.
So one of the things I always tell my students is I was like, you know, because mean has to do with average, which has to do with your grades, right? I always think about, even if I know that I'm not mean and I know I'm the nicest teacher you've ever had and I never give you homework, and Miss Meek is amazing and she's not mean either. However, you can think of mean as, ooh, that mean Miss Armstrong. Because why? Because you have to do math. And it's your average.
I like
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and try this this other example. Yeah, go for it. Do it by yourself. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. It's going to be 48. So I'm doing it along with you. So if you want to glance up and look at, make sure your numbers are getting on the right track, go for it. 4, 5, 6. Hopefully my numbers are the same, because Miss Armstrong can make mistakes too. I mean, I'm pretty perfect, but not all the way perfect. And you know, because this is going to be on a YouTube channel, somebody that doesn't have me may watch it and be like, this crazy math teacher might get it wrong. I'm only human. I could be wrong. It's a 1. So I'm gonna make sure everybody got the same sum. What? Did I do something wrong?
No, I was just going to the answer.
Oh, we're not there yet. I'm just gonna stop right there for a second, make sure everybody got the same sum as me. Anybody get anything different where you think mine might be wrong? Yes, thumbs up or thumbs down so I can see. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Like high up, because I can't see. All right, so now we're gonna take 154 and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 goes into 15. 2 times. Bring down my 4. So my mean is 22. Perfect. So one thing to keep in mind about checking for reasonableness when it comes to mean, if you get a number that's not even in this range at all, if I said, oh, my mean was 154, well, how can you have that type of grade or average if none of those numbers in your data set are even there? That's like saying, oh, my average is a 95 when you haven't passed any papers or anything in class. Is that reasonable? No, it's not. So you have to sometimes think about, okay, yes, I got an answer, but now I need to check to make sure that that is a reasonable answer. Okay? All right, so go ahead and get that glued into your journal.